With this in mind, I will suspend my campaign immediately. I encourage other Republican presidential candidates to consider doing the same so that the voters can focus on a limited number of candidates who can offer a positive, conservative alternative to the current frontrunner.
On your fancy rug, and you don't give a shit. I've been holding with the force all night, and it ain't no federal crime. Toss me the keys to your daddy's Corvette and say just bring it back sometime. Darling, yes, the truth is just so plain to see. I like you better when you've been drinking.
Good evening. Oh, I can't even hear myself.
You should be able to hear yourself. I can hear you in my headphones.
Okay, but I can't hear myself through the headphones.
Are you plugged into the right spot?
I don't know.
Where's your headphone cord? Okay.
I don't know. I don't know.
You're plugged into the same one that I am.
Okay, so maybe that's the problem. That could be a problem.
No, because I can hear me.
Well, that's great. Then you can do the show.
There, can you hear yourself now?
Can I hear myself now? A little bit. A little bit. Not much, but a little bit. Hi, welcome to this week's edition of Lock and Load Radio. Welcome. Glad to have everybody here. Okay. Don't know who's got the sense of humor going on in the chat room, but welcome, Rosie.
Hello, Rosie. How are your 5 fingers?
Okay, moving on. We'll have to figure that out, who that is before the end of the night, because it's got to be somebody with who's a smart aleck. So it's got to be somebody I know, because I know all the smart alecks in Maryland that are interested in firearms. Okay, so let's see. Do this. I wanted to make sure the show was looking good, and we have a lot to talk about. Yep, apparently we're functioning just fine. This is good. Let me turn down the volume before. There we go. Oh, we have a new. Oh, it displays differently now. Google displays it totally differently.
Okay.
I'm just saying, it's not how it used to. So, whatever. Okay. How was your week?
How was my week? I don't know.
What'd you do last weekend? Pathfinders.
Yeah, well, we had Pathfinder stuff. The kids are, I guess this was meeting number 3. Last chance for people to register, and they're already going.
I cannot hear you in my headphones.
Okay.
I can barely hear myself.
Hello. So I don't know what's going on.
I don't know either. You're the producer.
Well, I'll look at it because the levels seem to be perfectly fine right here.
Huh?
So the levels are perfectly fine on the board.
Okay. Well, something's going on.
Yeah. Well, keep talking. So yeah, I'll. It is.
All right. Somebody in the chat room needs to let me know if they can. Two A's with us.
Well, and the levels are showing fine on the Google Hangout.
Okay. Can y'all hear us just fine? Because if you can, the Applehead's with us. Good. Just waiting to hear. I'm sort of treading water for somebody to type in the chat room that they can hear us just fine, because it doesn't really do us any good to start talking about the show if you can't hear us, and then we have to do it all over again.
Oh, like I said, I
you can hear us both. Thank you. Okay, it's just me then. It's probably the short in my headphones. Okay. Oh, less static in my ear, so that's a good thing.
You're also splitting off of mine. I'll get you on a different one here in a minute.
Isn't that illegal? That'd be split.
Do you hear better now?
No, I have more. Yes, I do hear better now, but now I have the crackle back.
Okay, well, the crackling is probably because Mic 5 is live. So the crackling should be gone because now the computer is gone.
The crackling is mostly gone.
And you can hear now, right?
Yes, I can hear now.
Okay. So
yes, and I can almost hear you. I'm just
alrighty
saying.
then.
I can almost hear you.
Let's see. Yeah, there. Any better?
What?
You know
It's
what?
gonna want to be one of
Fine.
those.
I'll turn the
nights.
board
I
up
haven't-
even more.
I have not had an. Oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
is that better?
Yeah, except that loads of crackling,
Well, I don't know what that's from. So,
and you're crackling too.
okay.
If it's not bothering the audience, then I'll just take off my headphones, and all will be well.
As you say, we don't have anybody calling in. We don't have a mechanism to do that
Okay.
right now. So
Okay. We do need to. What's with the Serenity Blue?
the first time
Oh,
somebody has
that's-
noticed that,
Really?
it has
It's been up
sitting there for months.
Where you been, babe?
So a few months ago,
Yeah, like
because
like
of a
spring.
conversation we were having.
Post show.
Well, actually, no, we were having it in the show too. It was one
Okay.
time when Dan was here.
Yes.
Yes. We were discussing Firefly, and so the young lady sitting to my left
The
had
soulless
never-
ginger.
had never seen Firefly.
Well,
And
why?
Shannon, Dan, and myself all thought that she was horribly deprived for this. So after the show, we turned on Netflix and introduced her to Firefly.
And I quickly got addicted. Very, very quickly got addicted.
Yeah. So yes, 2A, it has been sitting in that same spot. Actually, not that exact spot, but back when the wine bottle holder was over on the main desk, it was propped up against that for a
God,
while.
you notice
So
everything. Ugh.
it may be the time that it has been the flattest in affect towards the camera. So
Okay. Well,
people can actually read it now.
because it's been sitting there for a while.
But
So, anyway.
weekend wise,
I
so
got-
Pathfinders is going well.
Good.
The kids are starting to get settled in. Some of the parents are already starting to complain that we closed registration early, and
Why?
wah. We have 40 kids this
Didn't you
year.
have like it open for like 3 weeks?
5. 2 weeks before actually no, so probably closer to 2 months now, because we only have typically a meeting every other week. So when we just passed meeting number 3. We're actually about 5 weeks into the actual program itself.
So you don't have a meeting this weekend?
Actually, I have a meeting Friday. Friday is our induction ceremony. So we have 2 ceremonies
right.
in the year. There's the induction ceremony at the beginning. That's when we welcome new members to the organization, and we go through a whole Christian-based ceremony about describing what the Pathfinder logo means, what the different level colors mean, what the what each candle represents. And,
Yeah.
and we start in a dark room, and by the time we're done with the ceremony, there's enough candles that have been lit that there's light in the room, so representing the light of Christ in our lives. So that's this Friday, and then at the end of the year we do an investiture, which is you've received all of your honors and awards for the year, and if you get selected and you've completed the requirements for your level, you get advanced in your level. So
Nice. Well, gosh. And oh, by the way, I do need to say, I swear to God, I still hear something. I don't know.
well,
what
now
it is.
you're hearing everything through the headphones
Oh, okay.
because I cranked the volume up so you could hear.
Okay. It's my fault.
Hey, it is, and I'm sticking to it.
Okay. Now it's just getting on my nerves. Thank you. I was going to say, oh, by the way, the other thing I wanted to remind everybody is the opinions expressed on this show are our opinions, not any organization, corporation, company, group of people, or otherwise that we may or may not work with, for, or whatever. So it's just Andy and Mike's opinions, and if you like them, great. And if you don't, then you should tell us and we can have a discussion. And if you like them, great. You should tell us because it makes us feel good. So that said, you also have another meeting coming up this weekend. Your
Yes, I
first
do.
first board
So,
meeting.
yeah, even though not
Ah,
officially. So not officially representing this, but yes, I am in the process of joining the board of the Maryland State Rifle and Pistol Association.
but you have to go to the board meeting because you are
Well, because I happen to be the lobbyist for the organization as well.
the lobbyist.
So
the new lobbyist. He
yes, the
replaced.
new lobbyist.
He has big shoes to fill.
Since somebody went to work for the government, and there's kind of this ethical
Yeah,
thing
you
about
know.
lobbying the government you work for.
They don't want you to lobby your boss. I don't understand, but So Mike was gracious enough to take over. I'm still legislative director or PIO or whatever the hell it is for MSRPA, but Mike and I will be working together with Shannon and the rest of the 2A community on the legislation and stuff. And thank you, Applehead. So we will be working together, but he is the official lobbyist and I am the, I don't know, PIO. I think Bill called me the legislative director the other day. I don't know. Anyway, we're doing, my workload got split in half. Well, sort of, kind of, maybe. So you have your first meeting on Sunday
Yes.
and apparently it's going to be a long one.
Well, I mean, they at least have the room booked for a long. They at least have the meeting room at the AGC booked for a long time.
Yeah, right before. Is it AGC?
Yes, it's in the Barnes House at AGC.
God, all right, we gotta work this out.
Good
You like
evening, Karen.
Perrin. I like Andy and Mike and Turtles. Okay.
And 2A wanted to know how your new job is. So,
I'm digging my new
tell
job.
us about your new, about how you like your new job as well as what your week was like.
Well, last weekend was awesome. I went to a place that I have always wanted to go to called the Inn at Little Washington, which is in Washington, Virginia, which is down. Yeah, Perrin, been there, done that. No, I'm not buying that T-shirt. Actually, 7's not so bad. And you know it's not because you know what's coming. That's why. And I'm sorry for those of you that are not in the chat room. Our lovely friend Perrin is raising a 7-year-old, and not the first child, but there was a long break in between children. So yeah, so he knows what's coming. So he's looking to sell cheap. Poor thing. But anyway, so we went to the Inn at Little Washington, and courtesy of my father-in-law. And when I tell you that it was an extravagant gift, spending the night there, it was an extravagant freaking gift. The service was unbelievable. I mean, you've never had service like this. I mean, it's probably, I think John said it's the only consistently Michelin rated 4-star establishment in the United States, like for 10 years running. But I think it's actually been longer than that. Julia Child actually had her 90th birthday party there. And I'm thinking, that speaks pretty well of the place because she's not going to eat someplace that's crappy, or she wouldn't have eaten someplace that was crappy. What's the matter?
Oh, keep talking.
Okay.
I can hear you through the other headphones that are still plugged in.
Okay. So anyway, we went there and we went. Poor Perrin.
I gotta stop reading the chat room while you're talking.
I know, poor Perrin. But anyway, little things like we went up to the room and I threw my makeup out on the vanity that I was going to need for the for dinner that night. And dinner is an event. I mean, it really is an amazing event. I had sat on the couch, so I put a couple of the pillows on the floor because there was, a pile of them. And when we came back, all of my makeup had been organized, like the brushes from smallest to largest, the bottles were organized. And I mean, the pillows were put back. I mean, it was just like, it's a very small inn, and they have other buildings, but they pay attention. Oh, they've left their room. Let us go see if it needs to be tidied up. And so I came back and I took out, they had a, apologize, but I have to tell you, by the way, where's Gyro?
I texted him. I haven't heard back yet.
Fine. But she didn't even know where or who she was when she ate there. I don't know what he means, but okay. They're coming. They're just slow. So they had a soaking tub, and it's the first, last, and only bathtub that I've ever been in, and probably ever will be in, that I could stretch, because I'm fairly tall, that I could stretch all the way out in and literally put my neck on the edge of the tub with my hair up because I didn't want to get my hair all wet and have to dry it again, and still had room past my toes. That's like never happened in my life. And I just laid there with a glass of wine, and it was lovely. My muscles are all tensed up from the running I've been doing. But anyway, so that's how I spent my Saturday and Sunday, and went back to work on Monday. Spoiled rotten. Now I keep going to my bathroom going, why isn't my bathroom clean? There's I need them to come and take care of my house. But for the price that my father-in-law paid, yeah. Like when they when we rode my father-in-law's minivan, and God bless him, when they brought the van up, we'd all left our little snacks, trash in the van, and figured, when we got back to Bowie, we just emptied out. Oh, no. They clean it up for you, and they make sure that there are however many in your party. In our case, there were 4 in our party. There were 4 ice cold bottles of water, 2 in the back, 2 in the front, and they go up to your room and get your bags, and they take your bags out of the car and take them up to your room. I mean, they did everything but unpack and pack. And as Ron said, I think if you'd asked them to do that, they would have. We stayed in the main inn, and if you go to the, I see you on the website, we stayed, they have 2 suites, and they're 2-story suites. And so you have a living room, and then you go upstairs, and there's the bedroom. And when you go to bed in the evening, of course, there's turn down, and of course, there's 2 cold bottles of water, but there's a journal on the bed. Like a brand new journal, and with a little philosophical statement about, you should write down your thoughts or they'll be lost forever. Some brilliant person said that. And then there's a little piece of paper, or a little antique piece of colonial paper that tells you what the weather is going to be like the next day. But, they, not cheap, definitely not cheap. But it was amazing. It was amazing. To say this was very expensive, Perrin, is kind of an understatement. Mike's gonna look and he'll tell you, but it was very expensive, and I don't want to be so ungracious to my father-in-law say
people can look on.
Yes, but let's put it this way: we've stayed in some nice places. And eaten in some first-class restaurants, and I would never be able to repeat that experience. So Wi-Fi, what about Wi-Fi? Oh, they had Wi-Fi there, if that's what you're asking.
Well, if you're going to wait, we're going to have like 10 seconds of silence.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know what they're talking about. I'm sorry. I'm a little out of it tonight. I don't know where Boar's Head is, but I must check it out now because I'm.
Boar's Head is right outside, just north of the University of Virginia.
Okay, so is that like expensive, like Washington, the Inn at Little Washington, or is that like
More
expensive?
Than likely, I've never looked at the prices. I have actually been in their restaurant.
Yeah.
So the Boar's Head Inn and the restaurant at the Boar's Head Inn is kind of in Central Virginia is kind of the epitome of what a fine dining experience is. It's the,
right.
You have the waiters. This is one of those places where if you walk in, they seat you, put the menu down.
2A. Do they have Wi-Fi? Because I'd like to go there and stare at my phone. They do have Wi-Fi. They do, unless you're on Sprint, though. Don't plan on using your cell phone. So once I got on the Wi-Fi, then I was good with Facebook and iMessaging. But yeah, you won't be making any calls.
People can take a look at the prices on.
Yeah, go look at the suite. And that was just one suite, and we had 2, and then dinner on top of that, and 2 or 3 bottles of wine. So, and there were cocktails involved too. So, and we had tea at 3 o'clock.
You could have rented the Claiborne house
for the same price.
Presidential cottage with 2 king bedrooms, 2.5 baths, living room. You rent the whole friggin' building. Yeah,
but he wanted to stay in the building because he was concerned about his walking.
Oh no, I get that.
So yeah, so
I'm just saying, yeah, okay. You guys can go look at on your own. I'm not gonna out that one. I'm just gonna say, yeah.
It was. Oh, that's not bad. $275 for a king standard room. They wouldn't let the wife and I eat in there since we didn't have the proper clothing. I'm okay. Yes, high tea.
So
not high in tea, high tea. So you can have tea, right? and they just bring you like basically what do you call those biscuits? Those English biscuits, scones. Yes, they'll bring you like scones and they'll bring you tea. But high tea has sweets and savories and tea, and if you're really lucky, it involves cocktails like the Ida Perry cabin. So yeah, yeah, Perrin, I am down with going to Boar's Head because that is a comparatively very reasonable cost. So, and if the food is if the food is that good, then I will go. But my husband is notoriously picky, and I discovered last night when we went to the Irish place in town that I am becoming notoriously picky about my restaurants too. So I came home. John went to a concert last night.
Okay.
I went to the mall, did a little shopping, came home, picked up Lil, grabbed Becky because Becky's husband was. You guys have met Tom, so Tom and John went to the concert. So we went to this little Irish place. By the way, don't go. Okay, so when you come to visit me, do not go to the Irish place in town. It was, really, I will eat anything. Okay, I really will. But if I'm going to pay, I expected the price to be commensurate with the quality. Lily ordered, by the way, I don't know what an Irish restaurant is doing with nachos, a section on their menu for nachos and a section on their menu for tacos. For tacos. But okay, we'll roll with this. So Lily ordered the chicken nachos. Well, they came out so dry that the nachos were burned. And we all know what that looks like. So that was going back. We ordered the beer cheese dip. My water was, and I kid you not, my water was thicker than the beer cheese dip, which, by the way, was broken. And if you know anything about making sauces, making roux and sauces that have like milk bases in them, you know that grainy, nasty taste because we've all done it. And then what was the other thing? Oh, and then the soup was supposed to be a mushroom brie soup. Oh, the taste.
Okay. Mushroom, brie, and Irish. Yeah, no.
No, I'm just saying. That's what it was supposed to be.
I'm just, as the Mick in the room, I'm just saying, yeah, no.
Okay. But I'm telling you, the soup was not broken like the dip was, but it was as thin as your tea. And I'm not kidding you. I literally could have poured it out into my water glass like it was water. So I said, I looked at Becky and I said, okay, that's going back, and that's going back because I'm not paying for them. So I'm becoming picky. Who knew? I used to eat steak and cheese and be very happy. I used to think that was gourmet eats, man. So anyway, so anyway, yeah. So that was last night's endeavor, and tonight we had Coliseum, which was pretty good.
Yeah.
For takeout. And work is going very, very well. I heart Kelly Schultz. I just do. She is fabulous and brilliant. And I don't say that because I work for her, but I said that to you all long before I worked for her. And her chief of staff, Kim, is outstanding. Just really smart and cool. No. 28. You send it back. You don't ask for a replacement. Okay. I want it off the bill. So, Lily got to have dessert for dinner last night. Well, she was like, it's okay. I'll go home and Daddy bought, mac and cheese and I'll just make mac and cheese. And I'm like, you know what? And she's, by the way, she's a month into the school year and guess who's got all A's?
Good job.
I know. I'm very pleased. So they brought her a brownie sundae, which which was just huge. And of course it's chocolate. It's, how do you screw that up? So she was very happy with it. So she had a brownie sundae for dinner, which is completely irresponsible of me as mother, but once a year, twice a year, fine. So that was that. And then this weekend I am going to see Shannon. Yes, the singer of the Glock song. I should have made her call in. But I'm going to see Shannon, and if the babysitting routine works out Friday night, we will be running in the. No, I don't want to trade because then I got to go through 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 all over again, Perrin, and I don't want to do that.
13.
He says, "What?
and 13.
Yeah, I don't want to do 13 again either. I'm almost through 13. 14's coming up. I don't know that will be better, but I definitely don't want to do 13 again.
I have 2 that are 13 right now.
I know. But they're on the downside of it, right?
Oh, they're halfway through.
Yeah. So want to do that again? You got one more.
Got one more.
Yeah. It's true. The little one is a girl, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway,
and the 2
so I'm not
currently are
trading.
A girl and a boy.
yes. Well, at least you'll know what's coming. But no, I don't want to trade. But if you need somebody to take child for a weekend, we can do that for you, parent. You need a break. We understand needing a break. So anyway, loving working for Dollar, loving working for Kelly, and her chief of staff is like smart as a whip. And Kim is awesome. And of course, our friend Brandon is over there. Those of you that hung out in my office may remember Brandon. He worked for worked for Delegate Beitzel, and has now passed the bar. And he was in, I don't know, I think he was member of a law firm, and he was a lobbyist, and now he's, oh God, he'll kill me. I get this backwards all the time. Assistant deputy or deputy assistant secretary? I don't know. DAS. He's DAS. He's deputy assistant secretary. That's what he is. So for Dollar. So anyway, so some of the gang is back together. Joni's over there. Delegate Schultz will remember her right-hand woman, who was Joni Aquilino, and she is still with her. And
well, I haven't seen her since she moved over there, but she was a trip in the house. So
oh, she's lovely, and ain't nothing changed. Ain't nothing changed. Anyway,
you want a couple people that will tell you like it is, put Andy and Joni in the same room together.
Yeah. Well, that's what I love about my Joni. Kelly's much nicer than we are.
Okay, Kelly's been in the delegate chair.
Yeah, she's always. You know what though? She's always nicer than I am. It even before she was a delegate, she was that way. So she's just good person, just good peeps. 7 years old. Parents is 7 years old, 4'10" tall, and 115 pounds. Not really a little girl. She is taller here than her second grade teacher. Well, yes, but I was tall too when I was 7, so I don't want to hear it. I don't remember how much I weighed, and frankly, if I did, I wouldn't be telling you. So stop outing your girl. You're a taser. Okay. I got to figure out who Rosie Palm is. I almost want to sneak in the other room and see if it's John, because that seems like his sense of humor. Anyway. University of Missouri professor sues over gun prohibition on campus. This is from the Washington Times, dated Sunday, by Kelly Riddle. University of Maryland professor is filing a lawsuit against the school for prohibiting guns on campus in what is aimed to be one of the first tests of the state's newly amended constitution that provides for strict scrutiny. It's not John. Of course, he'd say that if he was in the other room, just to throw me off. And strict scrutiny of gun restrictions. The guy's name is Royce D. R. This is an unusual last name. Royce D. and then capital R, like so small D-E, capital R, period, Barundis. Okay, I've never heard of a name like that, but anyway, who is an associate professor of law at the University of Missouri, is challenging the campus's policy. The lawsuit is being accepted into state court Monday, claims the university policy is unconstitutional under a 2014 strengthening of its state Second Amendment provision. The law change made Missouri the second state in the nation after Louisiana to provide for so-called strict scrutiny of gun restrictions, which is the strongest level of protection. This case is an opportunity for good constitutional jurisprudence. With us passing an amendment to our Constitution last year, said Jennifer Bukowski, who was representing Mr. Barundis. I'm going with Barundis in the lawsuit. Lawmakers in 14 states are currently pushing bills to allow concealed carry on a college or university. And in June, Texas Governor Greg Abbott signed his state legislature's bill into law. Last year, Missouri lawmakers passed a bill allowing specially trained school employees to carry concealed on-premises but Mrs. Bukowski thinks the students' and professors' right to carry is implicit through the state's amended constitution and is therefore challenging it. Mr. Barundas is a concealed carry permit holder in the state of Missouri. He also teaches a course on firearms law and has received extensive training on the safety, handling, and use and tactics of lawfully using a handgun. His attorney spoke for him. The University of Missouri, they talk about the geographic boundaries of it. The area, Mrs. Bukowski says, or Ms. Bukowski says, the area has seen its fair share of crime with people wanting to arm themselves for self-defense.
Which university was that again?
Missouri. You don't know my number by now?
University of Missouri or Missouri University?
University of Missouri.
Okay. There is a very big difference, and anybody from St. Louis will tell you why.
410-490-2734. If you lost it, it's on the About tab of my Facebook. In April, Mark Adair was shot and killed by law enforcement in a university parking garage. In the 24 hours before, he had attacked three women in 3 different places. Mr. Adair hid in the back seat of his first victim's car while she was shopping for groceries. When she came out, he, quote, displayed a gun and pressed the gun against the side of her chest, according to a Columbia Police Department offense report of the incident. It was only after the first woman, quote, pulled a Smith & Wesson Model 642 handgun out of her purse and displayed her firearm that the, quote, assailant disengaged and ran away, according to the police report. The university is trying to disarm law abiders, and in doing so is making them more vulnerable to lawbreakers, said Mrs. Bukowski. Self-defense choice for me, and we can't make that choice for ourselves. Shannon Watts has something to say. I know you're shocked.
Oh, wow.
I know. Try. Really, just try to hang on to your. And oddly enough, she's against this.
Gee, I'm shocked.
I know. She says that Shannon Watts is the founder of Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America. And by the way, the former lobbyist for Monsanto. And says that more people are being allowed to carry on campus won't reduce crime, but may increase it. Well, okay.
Didn't she also say it also may lead to grade inflation?
Right. Yes, in another statement.
Because the professors would be scared to give people a bad grade.
You just noticed my product placement?
Serenity.
Oh. It's been there. You guys, it has been there for like months. Seriously, it's been in that spot for months. So if that's what you're talking about, wow, okay. And Perrin, I'm not sure when 2A was with us last, but I know you've been with us recently. All right. So anyway, if you ask the real experts, according to Shannon Watts, those who will be impacted by dangerous campus carry laws, 78% of students, 95% of college presidents. Gee, I wonder how many of them are Republican. And 89% of police chiefs agree, and that's not true. Maybe 89% of police chiefs in, I don't know, Washington, D.C., agree that more guns on campuses are not the answer to keeping women safe, she argued in a February editorial. That's because campuses are rife with alcohol, drugs, and depression, a dangerous recipe that may be made deadly by adding guns to the mix. Well, you know what? If somebody wants to kill themselves, they're going to kill themselves. They don't need a gun to do it. You know, we should look this up. How are the majority of suicides committed? I think that would be an interesting thing to know. Perry, since like spring, back when Dan was pretending he was watching the show and actually showing up. And yes, you may report to him that I was giving him shit on the air.
It's not 9 o'clock.
Oh, sorry, Jim. It wouldn't be a show if I didn't break the rule. So anyway, yeah. So Dan, I have not seen Dan in forever. No state has seen a resulting increase in gun violence as a result of legalized concealed carry. All 50 states now allow some form of concealed carry, despite the fact that licensed citizens regularly carry concealed handguns in places like office buildings, movie theaters, grocery stores, shopping malls, restaurants, churches, banks, and parks. According to the group Students for Concealed Carry, which advocates for concealed carry rights on campuses. According to the studies by the National Academy of Sciences, that's pretty significant, and actually the Harvard Injury Control Research Center, which you would think would be left-leaning, no evidence has been found that licensed concealed carry leads to an increase in either violent crime or gun deaths. So I find that fascinating. Two what you would think of as liberal-leaning organizations can't find any effort. But, well, Perrin, you got to pay more attention, dude. Or watch the show more often. Gosh.
Or stop staring in my direction.
Maybe I should. There. Is that better? Does that get your attention? Either that or I'm going to have to go back to the mall. Yeah. So we'll see what happens in Missouri. According to the NRA-ILA, see, we really should have gotten Shannon on. She needs to call in more often. We didn't.
Or she should just get in the car and come up more often.
Yeah, she really does. It's going to be more difficult
Yes, I know.
soon, but she can bring the girls. Of course, the problem is I have to work. I have to get up at 5 a.m. So I can't play like I used to. According to the NRA-ILA, CNN poll offers bad news for gun controllers and anti-gun candidates. This made me happy. Martin O'Malley and Hillary Clinton are going to have a real problem with this, as the article points out. The article was published last Friday. A new poll released this week from CNN and ORC International should give their campaign staffers pause, as it makes clear a majority of Americans staunchly support their right to keep and bear arms. Respondents were asked, quote, "In your view, do existing laws make it too easy for people to buy guns, too difficult, or are they about right?" Half of the respondents, 49%, thought laws were about right. This is good news, but the revelation is sure to give Michael Bloomberg and every town. The revelation that is sure to give them heartburn is that 10% responded that current laws make buying a gun too difficult. So let's see, 49% think it's about right, and 10% responded that, so 59% said about right or too much. So 60%. Wow, that's pretty good. Together, this means a strong majority of Americans are opposed. Oh, I didn't read that part. Are opposed to further restrictions on the Second Amendment. Yeah, that's going to be a problem. If gun control laws were changed so that more comprehensive background checks were put in place for all gun purchases, how likely do you think that they would prevent those with mental health problems from buying guns? Respondents were offered the options of extremely likely, very likely, somewhat likely, not at all likely. A majority, 56%, answered that the checks were not at all likely or only somewhat likely to prevent such sales. Gallup's polling, and by the way, these numbers shouldn't come as a surprise. Gallup's polling from 1990 through 2014 tells the story, revealing that support for further gun restrictions on the sale of firearms has dropped by more than a third, while the desire to keep the laws the same or make them less strict has exploded. So stick that in your pipe and smoke it. What do we got going on? Anything? Yes. Thank you.
Already taken care of.
Thank you. Let's see, what else have I got? I got a bunch. You got a bunch in your pile this week too. You were on the ball. Okay. Don't call, but Rosie, don't call me tonight, because after the show I'm just gonna collapse. Joe R is with us. Haven't seen him in a while. Huh. Well, welcome. Glad to have you. Man who tossed gun caused Penn North stir after unrest, pleads guilty to gun charge. I can't believe this is all they got him on. The 23-year-old man, this is according to the Baltimore Sun.
This is a plea deal, so this isn't all what they got him on. This is what they got him to accept.
Well, here's the thing. It was published today at 1 o'clock in the Baltimore Sun. 23-year-old man who tossed a gun acted like he was shot and stirred confusion amid a large crowd at the intersection of Pennsylvania and West North Avenues 1 week after rioting erupted at the West Baltimore corner, pleaded guilty on Wednesday to a federal gun charge, according to prosecutors. His name was Robert Meach Tucker. Police first approached him at the intersection on May 4th after another citizen provided a tip that he was carrying a gun. A City Watch camera confirmed that he, quote, was displaying the characteristics of an armed gunman, prosecutors said. I mean, really? You want to be, that's kind of vague. All right. Anyway.
Well, I mean, that depends. For law enforcement officers, for those of us that carry on a,
This is how prosecutors characterized a camera.
yes. So City Watch is watched by police officers.
Oh.
They are cameras that are observed by police officers in the various districts.
Oh, so I should wave?
Not that one.
Yeah,
He's out in the car.
Apparently not. Yeah. When officers pulled up to his location, he ran before removing a handgun from his waistband and throwing it to the ground. Prosecutors said the gun went off without hitting anyone, but he pretended to be injured, said Maryland U.S. Attorney Rod Rosenstein, leading many to believe that he'd been shot by police. National media in the area at the time, reporting on simmering community tensions, briefly reported that a police officer had shot someone. Of course they did. Further stirring, oh, somebody's got a fire going outside. Further stirring unrest in the crowd. People began throwing bricks and bottles at officers, prosecutors said. Tucker's actions, quote, incited misguided bystanders who attacked innocent police officers, Rosenstein said in a statement. This case shows the challenges that police officers sometimes face as they work to protect the community and save lives. If Rosenstein, whichever, believes that statement, that he incited misguided bystanders who attacked police officers, why didn't they charge him with something else?
We'd have to look back at Maryland case search to see what Maryland charged him with. I don't know how to see what he was charged with federally, because if it's a U.S. attorney, that's a federal charge.
But here's the thing. If I yell fire in a crowded movie theater, they're going to charge me with something.
Like I said, this is a plea deal. So regardless of what he was actually charged with, these are the charges that he and his attorney accepted him pleading guilty for.
Right. But my point is, then the assistant U.S. or the Maryland U.S. attorney should not have made that statement. If he can't back it up, he should not have made that statement. So, and if he can back it up, then he should have pursued it. But anyway, we don't want to do that because, we just want to say we're liberals. We don't want to actually be tough on crime.
The other interesting part, so I shot this to you from one of our members, actually 2A, thank you, because it was your link that I forwarded to her for this one. But, some of the discussions that were found in there, the gentleman in question, if he is the gentleman that is also listed in Maryland case search with a similar name and approximate age matches, 7 null proseques for firearms charges, 5
null proseque is what?
Null proseque means we're not going to prosecute. And 5, let's see, 2 prosecuted in the last 5 years. He's an illegal possessor. But
we wouldn't actually.
So we talk about this. We've talked about this in front of judicial proceedings, in front of the Judiciary Committee, in front of the Joint Committee when we were talking about FSA 2013.
Right.
Enforce the laws that are on the books, and you would deal with some of the problems. Just creating new laws doesn't do anything when you just keep going, and you just keep doing the same crap that they do here. He's got a track record of offenses, and he's still not getting a book thrown at him. Great. He's got a plea deal that if the plea deal is accepted and if he's given the maximum sentences for the charges available, he goes to jail for 42 years. Whoop-de-doo. But, it's a start. At least they're going after him for something, but still. It's another illegal possessor in possession of a firearm.
But we don't want to actually prosecute those. We just want to make it harder for law-abiding citizens to get guns.
Oh, and up at the top of the chat board, Applehead said you did get his attention.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad I got somebody's attention. Sheesh. So yes, Morpheus is in the house. Happy to have him. I don't have Facebook, and I'm looking at.
Well, that's taken care of.
Okay.
He just wants to now know what's a good time tomorrow to call you.
I don't know. I don't call. Just call. Just call. I don't know. If I don't answer the phone, I'll call you back. I have no idea, because that's the great thing about my job is I never know from day to day what's rolling. I mean, every day I'm literally learning something new. And so I'm involved in, and some days is a little slower than others. And like today, I actually got to go find some, a couple of binders and start, or I know this will shock you, Mike, but I actually got to start organizing my office instead of having like massive piles of paper all over my desk. Not that you'd know anything about that either.
No, not at all.
No. But yeah. So I just never know what the day will bring, and I love it that way. I am not a, at 7 o'clock I'm doing this, at 8 o'clock I'm doing this, at 9 o'clock I'm doing. I don't mind. Schedule your meetings. I'll be there. That's fine. But I don't like regimentation. I don't enjoy it. I like things that change constantly, and probably why I like politics, among other things. Just a theory. New Jersey lawmakers plan for Christie veto override on gun control bill. Apparently, in August, Christie torpedoed a measure that would have added steps to those seeking to clear certain mental health records for restoration of gun rights. The bill would have required individuals looking to erase old mental records so that they could legally purchase firearms to first notify the state attorney general's office and others of their efforts. And Christie says, I cannot endorse a continued path of patchwork proposals and fragmented statutes that add further confusion to an already cumbersome area of the law. But interestingly enough, minority chief, what the heck is that, like minority leader? Minority Chief Joe Bramnick, Republican out of Union County, New Jersey. I don't know all the counties in New Jersey. One of the sponsors of the bill on its first trip through the legislature contends a compromise can be made with Christie and does not support the move to override the governor's veto. Well, you better get with the program, because Christie seemed to be large and in charge up there. They appear to seek out the place. They will divide Republicans or divide individuals. Bramnick said in a press release, calling out Democrats for what he termed diversionary tactics. The large issues within the state of New Jersey are the financial system, jobs, and excessive taxes. Well, that's pretty much true across the country. The vote is set for September 24th. The Democrats said leaders across the aisle who do not have a clear two-thirds majority to muscle a veto override without bipartisan support contend GOP lawmakers should stick by their original votes. If they reverse themselves, eventually they will have to look at themselves in the mirror and explain to people who they can back away from. What it says is who they can back away from something they supported. What they meant to type was how they can back away from. Said State Senate President Stephen Sweeney, Democrat out of Gloucester County. It is hard to forecast what a sustainment or override would translate to Christie in his efforts to move into the White House in 2016 against a packed field of competitors for president. In the latest CNN Org survey of potential candidates released yesterday, and this is according to guns.com, shows Christie in 9th place with 3%. Don't know who. I don't know who that is, and I don't know how to pronounce their name. Otherwise, I'd say hello. Eker. EKRPPIHCS. I'm sure I should know what that is, but I don't. So I'll move on.
So, Chris Christie.
Yes.
So we all know what Chris Christie looks like.
Yes.
Did you hear what he did yesterday?
What did he do yesterday?
Or was it this morning? It may be this morning. It was a couple of days ago. Ordered the New Jersey National Guard leader to meet fitness requirements.
Well, I mean, if you are
I can say this.
I'm just
I am
saying.
former military, so I can say this. He is technically, yes, Chris Christie is the commander-in-chief because he's the governor of the New Jersey National Guard. So he, as the commander-in-chief, has the right to issue orders to his personnel. So yes, he is within his rights to order the adjutant general to lose weight and comply with the physical fitness standards. It's just kind of a laughing stock for Chris Christie to be telling somebody, "Hey, you're too fat."
Okay. But I mean, if they don't tell them they need to be in shape, then
No, I know. Like I said, the military guy in me goes, "Yeah, that's a perfectly valid order." The personal, my personal opinion is it's just kind of funny.
okay. You have things to talk about. I have one article left. You want me to do it? Or are you ready?
Oh, you can talk whenever you want. You seem to
ahead.
be enjoying yourself.
Go ahead.
So, speaking of liberal governors, oh wait, Chris Christie's technically a Republican, but okay. Sorry, I have my own opinions on Mr. Christie.
Not a fan?
No.
Okay.
So from townhall.com, dated September 11th, liberal Virginia governor brings armed security guard to D.C. for an anti-gun rally. So apparently, right before September 11th, the lovely former mayor of New York City, Mr. Bloomberg, his anti-advocacy group, Everytown for America, held a rally in Washington, D.C. in front of the Capitol. And apparently some intrepid photographer, and Katie Pavlich is the byline on the article, noted that behind him, he had an armed security guard.
Isn't that shocking?
So, and I'm not going to read the whole article.
Wait a minute. How did Chris Christie get in there? I'm sorry.
No,
I missed
he's
that
not.
part. Oh, okay.
You just talked about Chris Christie.
Oh. You were
So
just- you were making
the
an
article
aside.
goes on to, one of the quotes from Katie Pavlich in here. I should also note that McAuliffe isn't the only Everytown supporter who shows up to anti-gun events with armed security.
Yeah.
Shannon Watts, founder of Bloomberg's Moms Demand Action, showed up at the NRA annual meeting in 2014 with armed security. She regularly brings armed security to her anti-gun events.
Oh my God.
Funny.
Okay. Here's the deal. You may not like Chris Christie. I'm fine. Support who you want. God bless you. You're involved. You'll show up at the ballot box. Both of you. You and parent.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I got no issues with whomever you want to support, so long as we're gun people. So they should probably be supporting guns.
Well, I mean, that's where mine is on.
However, when you are reduced to calling somebody a rhino, you've lost the argument. So I'm just saying, move on. You want to talk about why he's not strong on guns. You want to talk about why he's not fiscally responsible. You want to talk about, why he's not a good conservative. Okay, I'm fine with that. Frankly, I'll take some blue dogs on this issue. We need the blue dogs, and they're registered Dems. So I don't, look, we fight with the army we brung, okay? And so far, he's looking okay. I don't know who I'm getting behind. I really was kind of sad to see Scott Walker's performance in both debates. I was, because you were listening to me bitch about it. Sorry, but
the joys of chatting on Xbox while watching debates.
Yeah, I was really kind of. Well, I like Scott Walker. First of all, Scott Walker is a hoot. He tweets from his deer stand. I think that is just awesome. So you needed evidence the guy was pro 2A? There you go. So I really like Scott Walker, but I've met him. He's very personable. I agree on many of his issues. So I really liked him, but from the minute I saw him on the debate platform, I said to Mike, and I think Shannon was with us too, and I was like, he can't win. He can't win. And I was sad because I was really wanting to be the Walker chairman for Maryland. I was really sad about that, but I had to wait and see because we're a long way from the primary. So anyway, if you're going to call somebody a rhino and I'm around and I'm in earshot, just know you're going to get an earful from me because we as a community argue better than that. Okay. Perrin, pay attention. Okay. We argue better than that. You can tell me why he's a rotten, what, but you better back it up. So, and I'm picking on you because I love you, but I've heard this so many times. So-and-so's a rhino. Okay, great. It's the equivalent of you're ugly and your mother dresses you funny. So I want more. Give me more. So speaking to that end, tell me why you don't like Chris Christie. I'm not saying I'm
Let's
just
see. He voted for an assault, or he platformed and chased an assault weapons ban.
okay.
Fiscally, yeah, I know in recent times he's vetoed, he stood up and trumped that he's vetoed every spending bill tax increase that's come up, at least in this last session.
So that's good. I mean, he is in New Jersey, so he's not going to be a hard right winger anyway.
He's
No
one
hard
of those,
right.
I mean, it's the typical politician thing. It's when you've watched some of his speeches and listened to him, and his story's not consistent. He just doesn't ring true.
That's Skipper Key. Look at it backwards.
Yeah. So I mean, he just doesn't. He's wishy-washy, and I just don't. It's the gut reaction thing
Yeah.
more than anything else. Knowing that that he actually platformed on an assault weapons ban, and now sits there and says, "Well, I get it because we talk about other candidates that have changed their stances because they received an education. Fine, you
Yeah.
received an education. I don't know that I still really trust some of the stance aspects of things. He's had opportunities to go through and push back on his legislature and push back on his executive agencies for how they do things that could have been within the law.
Well, apparently he
He's not but he didn't. For example, if we look at my apologies, but her name escapes me at this very moment. But the young lady who was killed in her driveway a few months ago, he did not hold and has still not come out holding his own state police accountable for failing to meet the timelines demanded in statute to approve or deny the
maybe
New
in
Jersey
court, and
equivalent
that's
of a
why
FOIA.
he can't do anything yet until they.
But he could have done something before that. And the historical thing, if you look at some of the New Jersey, the folks that post about New Jersey firearms laws and New Jersey firearm boards, there's nothing that's really showing that he's not sitting on top of an executive agency to maintain their status. He's not going down and going, hey guys, you need to. His job as a governor, if his executive departments are not complying with statute, he's the one who's responsible.
What does Parham mean? He says that Bridgegate. What's he talking about?
So Bridgegate was the approaches to the George Washington Bridge, if I remember, it was the George Washington Bridge, from New Jersey into New York, were blocked
Okay.
at one point for some activities of some type or another. Long story short, what I remember of the situation was it was a campaign staffer that had made some arrangements to do some stuff to disrupt things. And they basically disrupted traffic into New York or across the bridges. Does it fall directly on him? I don't know if we'll ever really know the truth on it. He made some comments about it, not having any knowledge, that kind of thing. And then it turns out, like I said, it was one of his campaign staffers that had actually done it. That it was the impetus for why it happened.
It doesn't look good, but look, he's doing the right thing today, so we'll take him. Fortley, okay. So I don't know. I mean, he's a Republican governor in an extremely liberal state. He is not going to be a hard
some
right.
Of the difficulties that he's going to have, and the fact that he has to be more center and even to some extent center left just to be able to get things done.
Yeah.
I can grasp that. I mean, you look at our state,
but we've got issues that we care about that.
There are some things that I lean back and I go back. I'm not. I cannot say that I'm a single issue voter because I'm not.
Right.
I do look at platforms. I do look at stances.
Right.
And I vote for candidates that are most likely to support the closest to my belief structure as possible.
Right.
That being said, yeah, I very heavily lean towards. I would not vote for. For example, I don't think this would ever happen, but Elijah Cummings can't change his stripes far enough for me to vote for him ever. But anyway.
Yeah, by the way, I've discovered his Baltimore office is right down the street from me.
Yes.
I did not know.
And his Howard County office is in my town.
So speaking of presidential candidates and Scott Walker, I am not pleased to report that according to the Washington Times, in an article published yesterday, written by Ralph Zallo, the headline is, "It got this bad. Scott Walker sunk by $40,000 payout he couldn't afford." His nascent presidential bid struggling to capture popularity and fresh dollars, Governor Scott Walker made the hard decision last month to fork over $40,000 from his shrinking campaign coffers. Well, that's what he's supposed to do to the South Carolina GOP to ensure he would have a spot on the state's crucial primary. Apparently, in
20,000 to the party, 20,000
Yeah,
to the
here it
state
is.
board of elections.
The simple reason is that there are many expenses that super PACs can't legally pay, like ballot access fees. And if the official campaign committee can't raise big bucks, a candidacy may simply sputter. When Mr. Perry dropped out from the race earlier this month, his team cited, among other things, the expense of competing in South Carolina, where $20,000 must be paid to the state election commission, and another $20,000 to the state GOP just to get on the ballot.
So I can understand. I can understand the state board of elections having fees. I would assume some of some of our taxes should be going to support the election mechanisms, but okay. But there's a part of me that still gets the understanding of having a fee for getting on the ballot itself. The GOP party requiring an additional fee that is just as hefty. That to me is kind of questionable.
Well, yeah, and how they got that passed into law?
Well, I don't know that got that
Unless they,
20,000 for the elections is probably law, but
well, no,
but the 20,000.
wait. They themselves on the ballot. What is the party going to do? Oh, you can't run? It's got to be law or statute. It's got to either be statute or regulation.
For the board of elections, yes.
It's got to be. I'm telling you, it's got to. Maybe it's the same for Democrats too.
How can the law say that he has to be a private organization? The GOP is not a government organization.
I'm just telling you, there's nothing the party can do to stop him. If he pays the government to be on the ballot, there's not, I
get that.
If I spend $20,000 down in South Carolina, I'm saying if they have, so in other words, if he says, if I say, well, I only have $20,000, I'm not going to pay the state GOP. What the hell is the state GOP going to do? Don't vote for her? Please tell everybody not to vote for me, because you know what? You're paying for my advertising. The more you mention my name, that's why when we're campaigning for various candidates, you do not mention the opposition's name ever at any time. So if
certain people we know could keep an ear on that.
Yeah. Anyway, so the bottom line is $20,000 must be paid. It says must be paid to the state election commission, and $20,000 must be paid to the state GOP, which makes no sense to me. Thank you. That's from that bulletin board.
It was on the floor.
But thank you. But it makes no sense to me how they got that into regulation or law. I mean, I realize it's a very Republican state, but I'm just trying to figure out how they worked that one out. Well, anyway, New Jersey governor. So then there's a lot of speculation about who's going to drop out and who's going to stay, and this and that and the other thing. So New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, Ohio Governor John Kasich, and Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky are placed by many experts in political purgatory. They're doing well enough to stick around for now, but not well enough to rise into the top tier. There's a strong sense, however, that Trump, Carson, Fiorina, Bush, Cruz, and Rubio all have the cash and current popularity to stick around. Who knows? We'll see. But actually, South Carolina is not the only one. It says a darling of the conservative base after his efforts to rein in public sector labor unions and spending in Wisconsin. Mr. Walker's campaign was $750,000 in the red when he quit the race, in a move that took the political world and much of his 90-member staff by surprise. He already paid the South Carolina ballot access fee, but at least one other expensive state loomed on the horizon. Arkansas charges $25,000 for a campaign to gain access to its primary ballot, and is the only other state with a large fee. Only 7 other states charge any fee, mostly in the $1,000 range. Still, ballot access money is but one of the many cash burdens on candidates not named Bush or Trump. The others are costly advertising, travel, and staff. Mr. Paul will pay the South Carolina $40,000 fee, a senior official told the Washington Times. Mr. Santorum said he's already handed over his check to South Carolina, but acknowledged in an interview that it was a financial burden for a campaign in which he served as both campaign manager and chief strategist. Well, hey, Rick, get a strategist. And I'll bet if for expenses, probably find somebody that would do it for free. So that's that. I'm sorry, I shouldn't put my feet up on my desk while I'm on the air. Yeah, so that's the story. 5 a.m. Where are we? If I recall correctly, the mayor of Fort Lee was not a Christie supporter, so it was political retribution.
Something like that.
Yeah, something. But I heard a lot of rumors about this when you told me the story. I remembered, but I never actually did hear. And Morpheus, you are dead on the money. Way, way too early to even get worried about any one candidate. Although I have a little political crush on Scott Walker. It's okay.
Political?
My husband knows. Political. He's cute, but that's different. It's still political. To me, there is only don't me. Don't me. To me, there is only one candidate with room to improve because of his lack of political experience. I wonder who he's talking about. I guess we'll find out. Is Walker taking one for the team to try and the opposition to the current leader? No, I didn't get that. And I don't think that's how the media cycle is playing this out. To me, Huckabee, Jindal, Rand, Santorum, and Pataki would just pull over and let should be dropping out shortly, except for Huckabee. He still has religious backers. Huckabee, yeah. Toopy do. So I don't know, but Morpheus, you're absolutely right. It is, as I said earlier, a lifetime to the next to the primary, and
A lot can change.
now that my political boyfriend is out, I don't know. But I from the minute I saw him on the stage, I knew he wasn't going to make it.
So,
So a needle pulling thread. What? Is that chair driving you crazy?
yes. Actually, my back is driving me crazy.
Okay.
So, from, let's see, where is this from? Guns.com, 9/23/2015 by Chris Eager.
Yes.
Last gun shop in San Francisco confirms closure due to new law.
And what is the new law?
So, the new law was that videotape all gun and ammunition sales. So, the last store, Highbridge Arms, let's see, I want to say they've been in business for like 80 years.
Good God.
But because of the new ordinance going into effect, and it is a city ordinance, the city and county of San Francisco, they are clearing out their inventory and will close the doors for the last time at the end of October.
Wow.
So they're currently trying to sue. They're currently trying to bring it back under control. But yeah, so.
Right.
The liberals like to say, well, they're not coming for our guns and nothing's going to happen. Yeah. Okay. So because of that, and I can respect their stance. They don't want to put their customers through videotaping
Yeah.
of sales, and
Well, yeah.
they realize they're going to lose business
Well,
because of it.
And somebody gets hacked into, and then that video is available, and somebody in the press publishes it. And their address is out there. And Morpheus, I was speaking about Ben Carson. He is the only candidate that I believe has room for improvement. Not saying he's the best or in the best position, but his lack of track record is much better than those who have flip-flopped. Yeah. Want to know where Ben stands on guns? Still don't know.
Well, he's come. That's one of the ones I was hinting at when I've said there are people that have had their eyes opened and changed things. I don't know how much he's changed. I don't.
I have no idea where he stands.
So one of his stances was that, you know, he had the questionable comments about people in big cities shouldn't be able to buy guns. Was one of the misstep statements, and that's paraphrasing. That is not the exact quote. And yes, I know it's not the exact quote, hence the reason I said it's a paraphrase. But he got soundly trounced for that, and then came on somebody else's show and went, "Oh no, I was a little misrepresented." And, yeah.
Okay.
And I've since learned and talked to people, and okay, yeah, like I said, we do know that people can change how they feel and can have their eyes opened by education. You know, some of the members of our
I can't push down on my pinky. He's making me do these exercises for my pistol shooting, and I can't push down on my pinky. Anyway, go ahead.
So, you know, yes, Morpheus, you're right. His position is evolving on the 2A. He's moving in a pro 2A direction. Previously, he was ignorant. So we have people within our own community that are you know, now people that we trust because of their former position and the value that their knowledge from their former positions bring. But there are even folks within our own community who are, like I said, now held in a relatively high esteem, who will flat out admit that their opinions were wrong until they were educated. You know, and that's fine. Like I said, I can the person being able to admit, hey, I was incorrect, and I've had my eyes open, and here's the way I feel. So, yeah, I bet Carson saw a lot of gunshot victims. He's actually mentioned that before, that he has.
Sure.
And as a neurosurgeon, I'm sure he probably saw quite a few. So shifting gears.
Okay, shift away.
Gotta love how another one where we've got a case of the government violating Heller, for example.
Oh, yes.
So the Washington Post, Volokh conspiracy, dated September 21st, Eugene Volokh. Nassau County DA's office forbids prosecutors from having handguns, even at home.
Yeah.
So the Nassau
prosecutors.
Nassau County in New York District Attorney's Office bars prosecutors from having a handgun even at home.
Yep.
And the internal quote is, assistant district attorneys are not permitted to apply for a handgun permit, nor own or possess a handgun while employed by the Nassau County District Attorney. Any exception to this policy must be in writing and approved by the district attorney. So, okay, wait. A government organization.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, I realize this is employer-employee relationship stuff, but this is a government employer.
Right.
So there's some very specific boundaries. I don't think this actually complies with anything. It's a government agency directly violating what SCOTUS has held as a fundamental civil right in Heller and McDonald. So held in Heller, applied to the states via McDonald. The Nassau County DA's office should be soundly trounced on this one, because it's not, it shouldn't have this kind of a limitation. You know, he does go on to point out that the Supreme Court has upheld limits on speech by government employees, because it requires the showing that speech is likely to substantially interfere with government employer operations. So yeah, I would wonder how that one flies in the face of everything. Yes, Perrin, that is exactly who I was talking about. So Perrin called out in the chat room that former MSP head of licensing was once anti-gun. Yes, and Jack has since changed his tune dramatically. So one more local interest, and then that last one.
I don't even know why that's there.
I brought it up. I'll say why.
I don't remember printing it out.
I'll brought it up and say.
Okay.
I brought it to you. I'll tell why.
Okay.
So in interesting
Yes, dear.
local news, the Baltimore Sun, Kevin Rector, September 21st.
Yes, dear.
Apparently, I'm taking this. This is my interpretation of this. Is that Councilman Nick Mosby and Councilwoman Mary Pat Clark are trying to take stabs.
Wait, Mosby, that name is familiar.
Yes, it is.
Huh.
Take stabs at Stephanie Rawlings Blake now that she's come out and said, I'm not going to run for mayor. And oh, guess who is?
Marilyn Mosby.
No, I don't think Marilyn's going to, but we're pretty sure that her husband Nick is probably planning on running. They want the city's 911 service because they claim, here, quote in the article,
He's
quote,
climbing on his wife's.
Councilman Nick Mosby
my
and
God.
Councilwoman Mary Pat Clark said the city's 911 service has become largely unreliable since it was moved to the mayor's information technology office several years ago as a cost savings measure. Now, the interesting thing is the 911 dispatchers and call center actually sits in police headquarters. They didn't physically move the environment,
Okay.
but it's staffed by people in the mayor's IT office. It's not staffed by people that are employees of the Baltimore Police Department. I'm sure there are, if it is run like like most other, I can't say every other because I haven't visited all of them, but most other major metro area 911 dispatch centers, there will be supervisory personnel from both the Baltimore Police Department and the Baltimore Fire Department sitting in there to ensure that dispatches are happening in accordance with protocols. But the BPD union, BPD and the BPD union have both come out and said, hey, they don't work for us. We don't supervise them. So it's interesting to me. I'm not going to read the whole article because I just thought it was interesting. Mosby, here's another quote. Mosby said the change would make the police department more accountable for its own response to 911 calls. Quoting Nick, whether you're a witness to a crime or a victim of a crime, it's paramount you have direct access to the police, end quote. So I'm taking this as okay, Stephanie Rawlings Blake has bowed out of re-election for whatever reasons. We still don't know what she's planning on doing next.
Right.
She's saying that she bowed out so that she could focus on the city, not politics, whatever. But this is kind of a stab in the back, I think.
Yep.
What were you looking at?
Oh, I had snarky comments to make, but I can't make them, so I won't. It had nothing to do. It was triggered by things that were said in the chat room, but it had nothing to do with anything going on in the chat room.
So, Skipper Key, I'm going to say this. Your comment. My wife lied to doctor. I did not answer the "Do you have firearms?"
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
Told her she missed the question, so she said no. I would have said none of your business.
I would have too. My question would have been, why do you need to know this?
So the answer that I have from
But
another good member of our community happens to be my personal physician, whose answer was very simply,
boy.
say no. Don't say it's none of your business. Don't say you're not going to answer the question, because the doctor's office or their staff, depending upon what their actual stance is just going to assume that's a yes. So any answer other than no to that question is a yes. So yes, it is none of their business. Yes, I happen to, one of the very many reasons I go to the doctor that I go to is because his answer is, yes, we know that question is on some of the forms that our electronic.
Because he's hair boy.
Our electronic questionnaire asks it. We don't store the answer.
You know what?
So
if my doctor asked me that question, and somewhere along the line with one of my kids, and we've had 6 of them, so I have no idea which one it was, somebody asked us, and I was like, before I answer that, I want to know what you're doing with that information. Why do you need that information?
So the logic behind it is, if you go back to some of the Affordable Care Act provisions, there were some suggested, it's not in the law, there were some suggested things that in the implementation for how it is. And most of the electronic medical records companies,
listen to your wife,
are owned by or
Skipper.
largely funded by known anti-2A organizations. So
I'm not surprised.
all right.
See, Skipper says, LOL, that's what my wife told me.
Yes.
I say, listen to your wife. Hello?
So the last one, I found this one interesting. As I was sitting on a conference call at work today, my most common time to pull articles, from the Washington Times,
I can always
dated
tell.
September 22nd, by Edward Woodson. How the power to set prices is power to destroy. Government involvement in music royalty rates takes its toll. Something I wasn't aware of till I read this article. The Library of Congress, through the Copyright Royalty Board, sets the rates artists are paid for their royalties for any songs you download from iTunes or Pandora or any of the
government sets the rates?
Yes. The government.
Who?
I didn't realize that our government had any charge to set anybody's rates and tell the industry how they could do stuff. But apparently, the law that mandates the CRB, a 3-judge panel housed within the Library of Congress, quote, establishes rates and terms that most clearly represent the rates and terms that would have been negotiated in the marketplace between a willing buyer and a willing seller, end quote. So the government's price fixing. Gee, gotta love it. I just thought it was. I literally was flabbergasted reading this. I'm just like, it is just, wow, interesting. So, it's the royalty rates that streaming companies like Pandora must pay to play music online. So they set, the government through the Library of Congress is setting what artists are getting paid for their music being played on streaming sources and downloadable media sources.
Yep. Yeah. So
And that's all that was on my pile.
that was, yeah, well, we had a lot. We covered a lot tonight. So
Well, we also gabbed for like 20 minutes before we actually started talking the show.
it's okay. They love us. So thank God. So I wouldn't be doing the show if they didn't. So that's all I've got for this week. Everyone sign up for the NRA ILA Frontier for Campus Carry in Florida. NRA ILA Frontlines petition. Okay, so I assume you go to the NRA ILA website and you find the petition. I imagine what Mike is doing now is finding the website, and he will put it in the chat room. If you don't get in the chat room, if you're watching this after we've aired and you want the link, just grab me on Facebook.
So I'm on the Frontlines website and I don't see a link to a petition.
Okay, well, Rosie, put it up there. So put it up there, and we will roll like that. I am delighted to see some of you back, Applehead and Jeff. And Marcus, it's been a couple weeks for you too. And Perrin, nice to know your job didn't get in the way, because you just got to tell your boss, there's some things in life that are just more important. Andy's one of them. Okay, maybe you won't buy that. But anyway, do we know what happened at the HPRB? There was one in the last week or so.
There was one last week, and
Okay.
I don't have the thread pulled up, and I don't have enough of a memory to go through what they were looking at.
So I don't know. I guess we'll talk about it next week, because I don't know what happened. Excuse me. And that's about it. So, yeah, 5K on Friday. It's called the Diva 5K. You run, you get a pink tutu, a feather boa, and a tiara. I'm trying to figure out, by the time I finish.
Oh, okay, I found the link.
Okay. Well, I was treading water until you did. But I am legitimately trying to figure out, by the time I finish running 3.1 miles, I am sweating. Where am I going to put? They're not exactly drip dry. So.
You'll have to hang it off of a certain person's deck. Yeah. Let it
I just wanted to
fly in the
enunciate that.
breeze.
I just wanted to enunciate that because I wasn't quite sure what you said.
Delta Echo Charlie Kilo.
I'm just saying.
Wooden structure on which one generally
Would
tends
the-
to sit, hang out, and gab and cook barbecue.
Would the Toto fit me? Well, it's a tutu.
Would the Toto fit you? That's kind of.
Yeah.
It is after 9
speaking
o'clock,
of
but we
decks-
really don't need to
Speaking
go
of
there.
decks. Anyway. Decks, Totos. Anyway. Mistitling things. The tutu would probably fit you. You have to at least pretend to run. Yes, you can walk, but you really need to be done in an hour. But that's not too bad, really. You could do 15-minute mile walks and make it in less than the hour. In far less than an hour. So yes, come on out. It'll be in Lansdowne, but call me before you go just to make sure. I have to make sure that the progeny of my darling friend are taken care of, and she is working on that. HGRB? Oh, HGRB. All
So
unicorn dust.
so Skipper Key, I think the general abbreviation most of us have used is HPRB, but
Oh,
since handgun is one word.
okay. My appeal is supposedly in queue for the next meeting, but I have received no formal notice, so we don't know when that's going to be. I'm appealing my restrictions. Minutes from the board meeting are atrocious. Good luck, Morpheus. Don't forget the licensing commander was replaced.
So a little bit of a I want to be sure that we're careful with our wording.
It says
The-
MJD, thanks for posting. Took me a while to find it. Okay, go ahead.
Just being careful in how we word and message things, right? We don't know that Captain Brady was replaced. Captain Brady received a promotion. She is going somewhere else within the support division of the Maryland State Police, and she is being promoted to major. So there is
So
a
she
new
was
captain.
replaced.
Well, she's been promoted, but
Right.
so replace can have multiple connotations.
True.
And
Truth.
depending on how we say
Truth.
it. So
Yes.
she was promoted, and she has a replacement commander coming in, another captain. I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but other folks that I know within the 2A community whose opinion I trust have said they know him. He's a good egg.
Yep.
I know our former licensing commander that is a friend of our cause now has also said that he respects the individual that's coming in as the new licensing commander.
And more
Whether that will mean any additional changes immediately, please don't hold your breath.
we'll see. We'll see.
But will it mean changes in the long run? We hope so.
Yeah.
But like I said, you got to kind of take it with a grain of salt. Don't expect changes immediately.
Right. Yeah. And then Morpheus is quick to point out Brady was promoted. And there is a new commander, and it is on the Maryland State Police website. He's being replaced with Captain Adam Stachersky. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. Anyway, so same bat time, same bat channel next week. And
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Yes.
As long as work doesn't get in the way.
Oh, it's not allowed.
Yeah, okay. I'll let you tell the government that.
Okay.
I'm sure they'll listen to you about as well
Just
as they
tell them
listen
there's
to
a
me.
soulless ginger that'll kick their ass if they don't cooperate. There you go. No, that would be Starsky. The Skipper Key says his partner is Hutch. No, that would be Starsky. But very funny. I picked that up right away. So are you ready to take us out?
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. We will see you hopefully in a week, and same bat time, same bat channel, and we'll see you soon. Good night, all.
Hammers back and the safety's on, safety's on, safety's on. Hammers back and the safety's on unless it's a Glock.
Here we come, walk down the street, get funniest laughs from everyone we meet. Hey, hey, we're the monkeys, and people say we monkey around, but we're too busy singing to put anybody down. We're just trying to be friendly, come watch, sing and play. We're the young generation, and we got something to say. Hey, hey, we're the monkeys, you never know where we'll be found, so you better